the details when it comes to design and decor. So in a kitchen, you got to be thinking about what your finishes are going to be. And so you have to think about what your design aesthetic is. Are you modern? Definitely. Are you transitional? And how does that play into how it's going to all look?
Well, exactly, because now that kitchen, interestingly, because it was so white, you needed to have those little pops of color. And the nice thing is that it doesn't have to cost a lot. People, sometimes their budget starts to get a bit lean at the end of a job.
Right.
So we just went to IKEA and got lots of stuff. So it's nice that there's such a nice cross-section of stores that you can go into and get your high and low looks.
Right.
But when you are starting with a renovation and you're starting with a kitchen, the style of the door is critical. And so that lends itself to the question, am I modern? Am I traditional? Am I transitional? So I'm going to demystify the modern and the transitional a little bit. Okay. So I do have a picture I wanted to show you that shows a really true modern kitchen. All right. And you can see that it's got like a wood grain look. There's the waterfall countertop in the island. It's very sleek. And that's really where you start. If you're thinking that you like modern, you're usually looking at a very high gloss lacquer. And this is where it's usually in white. It's a plain door. You can also get it in a wood grain look, in dark or light. The grayish is very, very popular. Really beautiful, and that can be mixed up. So you can use the warm woods in the laminates. You can also use the high gloss. You can also do a soft gloss. Okay. Then you start looking at your countertops. Now that is a Cambria counter. It's beautiful, it's quartz, very resistant to bacteria. It's a seamless look and it's gorgeous. And again, keep it very, very neutral. But when you're doing a really clean lined look for a kitchen, then think about the backsplash. That's where you can have a little bit of fun. Whether you do a really glammy fun, a little bit out there over the top, maybe by the stove top, underneath the hood range. That's really an important place to play. And you can
have some jewelry there.
You got it. And that's a really good example. Yes, it's a mosaic, it's got glass, it's got a little bit of metallic, and it's really pretty. Now, then you have to think about the other details, which of course would be the hardware. Really critical. I've got some beautiful examples. I've got all of these from Paran Design, a really great kitchen company that I work with. And I wanted to show you the difference. We're going a little more geometric in our hardware. When you're going a bit modern, you're also playing with a lot of different finishes, and and they're larger. So hardware's getting bigger.
They're not teeny tiny little precious pieces.
You got it. So everything from pewter to copper to polished nickel, polished chrome, stainless, the choices are there, and that's where you really do glam it up. Now another interesting thing, instead of a chrome, and I usually match my faucet to my kind of hardware that I'm using, there's a company called Silgrana. It's actually developed by Blanco, who do beautiful sinks. And about 30 years ago, they developed this granite and an acrylic blend, and they made colored sinks. And then they've now segued off into doing faucets. Oh, cool. So there's multiple colors, and this is a gorgeous white one, which I think plays really well with the modern feel that we're looking at.
Right.
So again, and then think about adding organic touches to the modern kitchen. Right now, those beautiful woods, do great thick profiled shelves, add that organic feel, stack them with big white bowls, and you can see that modern kitchen has a really cool kind of earthy look as well.
It's a little bit minimalist. There's a lot of clean, straight lines in there. And as you mentioned, these pieces are bigger. So let's show a shot of transitional.
Absolutely.
So you can explain to folks what the difference would be.
Yes.
Here's a kitchen that we're describing as transitional right now. And what is the difference between this kitchen and the kitchen we saw before?
All right, well, I want you to look at something. There's a mix. Transitional is a mix of both traditional and modern. And I think of it Jackie's Way scale. You can go to your own home, do a personal inventory, and go, if I look at all the things I have in my house, do I weigh heavily on modern? Do I weigh a little more heavily on traditional? And maybe that new kitchen is somewhere in the middle. Right. So seldom do you have, in terms of your kitchen door, because you always start with a cabinet, a raised panel. What you may have is something like this. Again, it could be an MDF or a walnut door, so that's sprayed. And you can see that has just a little inset bevel. It's not a big formal door. Right. Lots of options are available in terms of, it's almost like a shaker door, but very clean and crisp. The other thing you can play around with transitional is adding that modern touch. So in that picture, there was a beautiful polished chrome cabinetry area. And it was played against the wood, which that little island that looked like a mushroom, that's that traditional element in there. So there's that nice play of those two. Also think about adding funky touches again. There's that still, the lovely, the granite that has that nice mix of the granite and the acrylic. And think about as well punctuation points in that trans. Add color. Navy's the new neutral.
Look at those colors.
Put it on an island, put it in a coffee bar, have fun. And then lastly, think about the glam. This is where, again, you may go a little more traditional in the transitional, a little bit more of glittery, glammy.
Just lean that up for us,
sure.
and we'll get a shot of those, because you've got good options there if you're
Absolutely.
transitional.
Really kind of crystally, keep it a little bit cleaner, do
Yeah.
polished nickel, and the look is going to be that nice mix between the modern and the traditional, and just
Yes.
makes it perfect for your living space.
Probably most people are in that transitional space, aren't they?
Most of them are.
Good little lesson there.